Not all tools shown are required. Phillips and flat screwdrivers and some kind of wrench are required. Hammer and cordless driver drill add speed and convenience. There are 2 leg assemblies, each consisting of 2 legs, 2 extensions, an upper brace and a lower brace. Put them together first. Connect the tops of the legs using the upper braces, 2 1/4" by 5" machine screws, and 2 1/4" hex nuts. When you first put the 5" machine screws through the holes in the top of the legs, use the machine screws as if they were files, with a back and forth motion in the holes to make them move a bit easier, first in one leg, then in the other. Thread the upper brace onto the machine screws. Line up the holes in the top of the other leg with the machine screws. This is a snug fit. Gently tap the leg onto the machine screws. Push the hex nuts into the holes opposite the machine screws so the hex nuts will thread onto the machine screws. Tighten the machine screws until they are just a little snug. Just a bit of alignment and tightening. And a little light tapping here just to get all the parts aligned properly. Nothing too much. Tighten the machine screws the rest of the way into the hex nuts. Snug, but not too tight. A later step will finish the tightening of this joint. Here's how the top of the leg assembly should look. Now attach the lower brace with 4 1½ screws. Move the lower brace along the legs until you feel that the angles at the ends of it are lined up with the angles of the legs. Apply pressure down onto the lower brace to keep it in place and fasten the screws that are diagonally opposite one another for a more precise and tight fit. Now put the second leg assembly together the same way and proceed to the next step, attaching the top. Identify the upper side of the top by the levelit.com branded into it and the holes at each end, which are counterbored on the upper side. A counterbored hole looks like a smaller hole inside a larger hole. Insert a 5/16 by 3½ carriage bolt through the counterbore of the hole, then flip the top over. Here's how the bolt should look sticking out of the bottom side of the levelit top. Holding a leg assembly with the upper brace down, place the hole in the upper brace onto the bolt now protruding from the bottom side of the top. The lower brace should be on the inside. And here's how it should look now. Place a 1/4" washer, then a 1/4" hex nut onto the end of the bolt and tighten it, loosely for now. Now attach the other leg assembly to the other end, still keeping the nuts loose. Note how the lower braces are on the inside. Here's how everything should look now. Now attach the diagonal braces using the 1 1/4 inch washer head screws. As you position the diagonal braces, you will be able to tweak the position of the leg assemblies relative to the level at top to make sure everything is square. Again, tweaking the position of the leg assembly relative to the level at top, making sure everything is square prior to attaching it. Now go back and finish tightening the bolts holding the leg assemblies to the top of the levelet. Because this is a wedged joint, when you tighten these bolts down, you will also be further tightening the joint between the tops of the legs as well. Finally, assemble the extensions into the slots in the legs using 5/16 inch by 3 1/2 inch carriage bolts, big fender washers, and the large wooden wing nuts. Make sure that when you fit the extensions into the slots of each leg that the angle at the bottom of each extension matches the angle at the bottom of each leg, as it does here. It's helpful to gently tap each carriage bolt into place to help seat it into the wood so it will remain stationary and not spin when you attach its wing nut. First, place a large fender washer over the carriage bolt. Then attach an oversized wooden wing nut with the metal embedded hex nut on the outside. With use, this hex nut will gradually become more embedded into the wood. And repeat the process for the second carriage bolt, fender washer, and oversized wing nut again with the metal hex nut on the outside.